Your brain is currently programmed for poverty, not by choice, not consciously, but neurologically. The neural pathways in your brain right now are wired to keep you exactly where you are financially. This isn't motivational talk. This is neuroscience. Your brain has physical structures called neural pathways. These pathways determine how you think about money, how you feel about wealth, how you respond to financial opportunities, and right now, those pathways are programmed for struggle. Here's what's remarkable. Neuroscience has discovered that you can reprogram these pathways. Physically, measurably, permanently, you can literally rewire your brain for wealth. Not through positive thinking, not through affirmations alone, through specific neuroscience-based protocols that change the physical structure of your brain. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to reprogram your brain for wealth using cutting-edge neuroscience research. These aren't theories. These are proven protocols being used by neuroscientists to change brain structure. And you can apply them starting today. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 6 neuroscience-based techniques that rewire your brain for wealth. You'll know exactly what to do, how long to do it, and why it works at the neurological level. Your brain created your current financial reality, and your brain can create a completely different one. Let's reprogram it. The first technique is called neuroplasticity priming, and it's based on one fundamental discovery. Your brain cannot distinguish between real experience and vividly imagined experience. When you vividly imagine something, the same neural pathways fire as when you actually experience it. This is measurable on brain scans. Real experience lights up specific areas. Imagined experience lights up the exact same areas. Your brain treats them identically. This is revolutionary for wealth building because it means you can build wealth neural pathways before you have actual wealth. You can wire your brain for financial success before you experience financial success. Here's the protocol. Every morning for exactly 10 minutes, you're going to vividly visualize your wealthy life. Not casually daydream. Vividly visualize with all senses engaged. Close your eyes. See yourself checking your investment account and seeing large balances. Feel the relief of financial security. Hear yourself confidently making business decisions. Feel the physical sensation of sitting in your paid-off home. See yourself helping others because you have abundant resources. Smell and taste the dinner you're having after a successful business deal. The more sensory detail, the stronger the neural activation. Neuroscience shows that visualization with emotional engagement creates measurable changes in brain structure within 8 weeks. The key is consistency and sensory richness. Here's why this works. Every time you visualize wealth vividly, you're firing the neural circuits associated with wealth. Neurons that fire together wire together. This is Hebbian learning, the fundamental principle of neuroplasticity. When you fire these circuits daily, they strengthen, they myelinate, they become automatic. After 8 weeks of daily 10-minute visualization, your brain has built physical structures that support wealth thinking. You're no longer fighting against your neural programming. You've reprogrammed it. Most people skip this because it sounds like woo-woo positive thinking, but brain scans prove it works. Olympic athletes use this exact protocol to improve performance. Surgeons use it to improve skill. You're using it to rewire wealth pathways. 10 minutes every morning, vivid sensory detail, strong emotional engagement, 8 weeks minimum. This is neuroplasticity priming, and it's rebuilding your brain's wealth circuitry starting today. The second technique is called pattern interrupt, and it targets the automatic poverty loops running in your brain right now. Your brain runs on patterns. When you see a price tag, your brain runs an automatic pattern. Can I afford this? When you hear about an investment, your brain runs a pattern. This is risky. When you think about wealth, your brain runs a pattern. That's for other people. These patterns are neural loops. They fire automatically. You don't choose them consciously, but they're controlling your financial decisions every single day. Here's what neuroscience has discovered. You can interrupt these patterns and install new ones. The technique is called pattern interrupt, and it's devastatingly effective. Here's the protocol. Identify your automatic poverty thought patterns. Common ones. I can't afford that. Money is hard to make. I'm always broke. Rich people are lucky. Every time you catch yourself thinking one of these patterns, you immediately interrupt it physically. Snap your fingers. Clap your hands. Say, "Stop," out loud. This physical interrupt sends a signal to your prefrontal cortex that the automatic pattern needs to be overridden. Then immediately replace the thought with the opposite pattern, old pattern. I can't afford that. Interrupt. Physical snap, new pattern. How can I create the income to afford that? Old pattern. Money is hard to make. Interrupt. Physical clap, new pattern. Money flows to value creation. Old pattern. I'm always broke. Interrupt. Say, "Stop." New pattern. I'm building wealth daily. Here's why this works neurologically. The automatic pattern is running on your basal ganglia. That's your habit center. It fires without conscious thought. When you physically interrupt, you activate your prefrontal cortex. That's your conscious decision center. You're literally switching brain regions from automatic to conscious. Then by repeating the new pattern immediately, you're beginning to build a new neural pathway. The old pathway weakens from lack of reinforcement. The new pathway strengthens from repetition. Neuroscience calls this synaptic pruning and strengthening. Unused pathways weaken and eventually dissolve. Used pathways strengthen and become automatic. You're deliberately weakening poverty pathways and strengthening wealth pathways. Here's what's powerful. After 30 days of consistent pattern interrupt, the old patterns start firing less frequently. After 60 days, the new patterns start firing automatically. After 90 days, you've substantially rewired your automatic thought patterns around money. This isn't willpower. This is neurological restructuring. You're physically changing which pathways fire automatically when you think about money. Pattern interrupt every single poverty thought for 90 days and watch your brain rewire itself for wealth. The third technique is dopamine rewiring, and it makes wealth-building behaviors literally addictive. Here's what you need to understand. Your brain is motivated by dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical. When you get dopamine, you want to repeat the behavior that triggered it. Right now, your brain gives you dopamine for poverty behaviors. Impulse purchases give you dopamine. Immediate gratification gives you dopamine. Avoiding difficult financial decisions gives you dopamine. Your brain has been trained to reward poverty behaviors with pleasure chemicals. This is why wealth building feels hard, because your brain isn't rewarding it with dopamine. Saving money doesn't give you a dopamine hit. Investing doesn't trigger pleasure. Delaying gratification feels painful. your dopamine system is wired backwards for wealth. But here's the breakthrough. You can retrain your dopamine system. You can make your brain release dopamine for wealth behaviors instead of poverty behaviors. Here's the protocol. Every time you complete a wealth-building behavior, you immediately give yourself a dopamine trigger. Made an investment? Immediately celebrate physically. Do a fist pump. Say yes out loud. Save money instead of spending? Immediately celebrate. Stand up. Smile big. Feel proud. Learned a new financial skill? Immediately reward yourself. Call a friend. Share the win. Get external validation. The celebration must be immediate, within 60 seconds of the wealth behavior. Here's why. Your brain associates dopamine with whatever happened immediately before the dopamine release. If you invest money and then immediately celebrate, your brain links investing with dopamine reward. Do this 30 times and your brain starts releasing dopamine automatically when you invest. You've created a neural association. Investment equals pleasure. This is operant conditioning at the neurological level. You're conditioning your brain to find pleasure in wealth behaviors. But it goes deeper. Every time you resist a poverty behavior, you also celebrate immediately. Resisted an impulse purchase? Celebrate immediately. Chose delayed gratification? Celebrate immediately. Made a smart financial decision? Celebrate immediately. You're doing two things simultaneously. Rewarding wealth behaviors with dopamine. Rewarding resistance to poverty behaviors with dopamine. Within 60 days, your brain's dopamine system has been retrained. Wealth behaviors start feeling good. Poverty behaviors start feeling less rewarding. You've literally changed what your brain finds pleasurable. This is why some people find saving money enjoyable. Their dopamine system is wired for it. This is why some people get excited about investing. Their dopamine system rewards it. You're installing that same wiring deliberately. Celebrate every wealth behavior immediately. Within 60 days, wealth building becomes neurologically rewarding. You're not fighting your brain anymore. Your brain wants wealth behaviors because they trigger pleasure. The fourth technique is called reticular activation training, and it programs your brain to automatically spot wealth opportunities. Your brain has a filter called the reticular activating system, the RAS. This filter decides what information reaches your conscious awareness. Out of millions of sensory inputs every second, your RAS lets through only a tiny fraction. Here's what's crucial. Your RAS filters based on what you've told it is important. If you think about buying a red car, suddenly you see red cars everywhere. They were always there. But your RAS filtered them out until you declared them important. Right now, your RAS is filtering out wealth opportunities. They're everywhere around you. But your brain has been programmed to filter them out. People with poverty mindsets walk past opportunities daily without seeing them. People with wealth mindsets see opportunities constantly. Same environment, different RAS programming. Here's the breakthrough. You can reprogram your RAS to spot wealth opportunities automatically. Here's the protocol. Every evening before sleep, you ask your brain 3 specific questions. What wealth opportunities did I encounter today that I might have missed? What problems did I notice that I could solve for money? What skills do I have that people would pay for? You don't need to answer these questions immediately. You just ask them. Then you go to sleep. Here's what happens neurologically. When you ask your brain a question before sleep, your subconscious works on it during REM sleep. Your brain reviews the day's information looking for answers. This process is called memory consolidation and problem solving during sleep. But more importantly, by asking these questions daily, you're programming your RS. You're telling your brain, wealth opportunities are important, financial possibilities are important, problem solving for money is important. After 30 days of asking these questions nightly, your RAS begins filtering differently. You start noticing opportunities you walked past before. You start seeing problems as potential income streams. You start recognizing your skills as monetizable assets. This happens automatically. You're not trying to see opportunities. Your brain is bringing them to your conscious awareness because you've reprogrammed your RAS. Here's what's powerful. Wealthy people aren't smarter than you. They don't have access to different information. They have different RAS programming. Their brains automatically highlight wealth opportunities. Your brain can do the same thing. Ask those 3 questions every night for 30 days and watch your brain start revealing opportunities that were invisible before. You're reprogramming your perception filter, and perception determines what opportunities you can act on. The 5th technique is prefrontal cortex strengthening, and it builds your capacity for delayed gratification and smart financial decisions. Here's what you need to understand. Your prefrontal cortex is your decision-making center. It's responsible for long-term thinking, delayed gratification, and impulse control. When your prefrontal cortex is strong, you make smart financial decisions easily. You delay gratification naturally. You think long-term automatically. When your prefrontal cortex is weak, you make impulsive decisions. You choose immediate pleasure over long-term benefit. You spend instead of save. Right now, most people have weak prefrontal cortex function. Not permanently, just undertrained. The prefrontal cortex is like a muscle. It strengthens with training. It weakens without use. Here's the breakthrough. Neuroscience has identified specific exercises that strengthen prefrontal cortex function measurably. You can train your brain's decision-making center deliberately. Here's the protocol. Exercise 1. Daily delayed gratification practice. Every day, deliberately delay one gratification. Want coffee? Wait 15 minutes before having it. Want to check your phone? Wait 10 minutes. Want to buy something online? Wait 24 hours. You're not denying yourself, you're delaying. This specific action strengthens prefrontal cortex circuits for impulse control. Brain scans show measurable changes after 30 days of daily practice. Exercise 2. The Decision Complexity Challenge. Once per day, make one decision that requires complex analysis. Should I invest in this asset? Requires analyzing returns, risks, alternatives. Should I learn this skill? Requires evaluating ROI, time investment, opportunity cost. Should I take this opportunity? Requires weighing long-term consequences. You're forcing your prefrontal cortex to do complex analysis. This is strength training for your decision-making center. Exercise 3. The meditation protocol. 10 minutes of daily meditation focused on breath. Every time your mind wanders, you bring it back to breath. This simple act strengthens prefrontal cortex control over automatic mental patterns. Neuroscience research shows 8 weeks of daily meditation increases gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex. Measurably, physically, your brain literally grows new neurons in the decision-making center. Here's why this matters for wealth. Every financial decision requires prefrontal cortex function. Save or spend. Prefrontal cortex. Invest or wait. Prefrontal cortex. Learn or stay comfortable. Prefrontal cortex. Delayed gratification or immediate pleasure. Prefrontal cortex. When this brain region is strong, wealth-building decisions are easy. When it's weak, poverty decisions are automatic. You're strengthening the physical structure responsible for every wealth-building decision. Practice these 3 exercises daily for 60 days. Brain scans would show measurable increases in prefrontal cortex density, more neurons, more connections, stronger function. You're physically building the brain structure that makes wealth-building decisions natural instead of difficult. The 6th technique is neurochemical optimization, and it balances your brain chemistry for peak wealth-building performance. Your brain runs on chemicals, neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, GABA, norepinephrine, acetylcholine. When these chemicals are balanced, your brain functions optimally. You think clearly. You make good decisions. You feel motivated. You take action. When these chemicals are imbalanced, everything breaks down. You feel anxious about money. You avoid financial decisions. You lack motivation to build wealth. You make impulsive choices. Right now, most people have suboptimal neurochemistry, not because of genetics, because of lifestyle factors that nobody taught them. Here's the breakthrough. You can optimize your neurochemistry deliberately using science-based protocols. Here's the protocol. Protocol 1, morning sunlight exposure. Get 10 to 30 minutes of sunlight in your eyes within 1 hour of waking. No sunglasses, no windows. Direct outdoor light. This triggers a cascade of neurochemical optimization. Cortisol rises appropriately, giving you morning energy. Serotonin production increases, improving mood and decision-making. Your circadian rhythm entrains, improving sleep quality. Sleep quality determines next day neurochemical balance. Better sleep equals better neurochemistry equals better financial decisions. Protocol 2, strategic caffeine timing. Consume caffeine 90 to 120 minutes after waking. Not immediately upon waking. Here's why. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors. Adenosine makes you tired. When you drink caffeine immediately upon waking, you block the natural cortisol rise. This disrupts your neurochemical rhythm. When you wait 90 to 120 minutes, caffeine enhances the natural rhythm instead of disrupting it. Result: better focus for financial work, better decision-making capacity. No afternoon crash that leads to poor choices. Protocol 3, movement-induced neurochemical. Reset 20 to 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise 4 to 5 times per week, preferably morning. Here's what happens neurologically. Exercise increases BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF grows new neurons and strengthens existing ones. Exercise balances dopamine, improving motivation. Exercise reduces cortisol, reducing financial anxiety. Exercise improves prefrontal cortex blood flow, improving decision-making. Wealthy people exercise consistently, not for vanity, for neurochemical optimization. Their brains function better because of optimized chemistry. Protocol 4, sleep optimization. Get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep consistently. During sleep, your brain clears metabolic waste. During sleep, memories consolidate and learning solidifies. During sleep, neurochemical balance restores. Poor sleep means poor neurochemistry, means poor financial decisions. One night of bad sleep measurably impairs prefrontal cortex function the next day. That's your decision-making center offline. You'll make impulsive financial choices and not even realize why. Here's what's powerful. These 4 protocols optimize your brain chemistry for wealth building. You're not white-knuckling good decisions. Your brain chemistry is supporting good decisions naturally. Implement all 4 protocols for 30 days.